Okay, great. Welcome. Thank you for coming today on this hot day. This class is Downsizing and Decorating for Small Spaces. I'm Kim Johnson, and this is my second class teaching for OLLI, and I'm grateful to be teaching in class, to be welcome back again. Was my first class. I learned a lot from my first class. Let's see if I can get this to work a little bit better here. And one of the things I learned was to talk slower. So if you're in my first class, I will be trying to talk a little bit slower this time. But it's when I get excited about things, I get kind of talking too fast. And I love interior design, so I get talking a little faster. And when I was asked to talk about downsizing, I started researching it a lot, and I realized that there was a big chunk of downsizing that I needed to have some backup in. I've helped a lot of people downsize in my business. I've been an interior designer for 20 years and worked with a lot of different clients, and I love helping people downsize. But people usually call me after they've done kind of the hard part, the part that I don't really love, which is going through all of the closed closet doors, the closed basement doors, the closed garage doors, the closed attic doors that are full of the boxes that you maybe moved 20 years ago or 40 years ago that you never went through, that need to be gone through before you downsize, so you don't move those same boxes to your next place. And then we do the fun part with me. We decide what we're going to take to your next downsized place. So I needed to have backup. I needed to have a professional to help with those boxes that are in the closets and the garages and the attics and the basements. And so I have a wonderful friend that I've worked with whose name is Karen Bush. She owns a organizing business with her partner, Veronica, and they're professional organizers, and they work with people to do all kinds of things with organizing and getting through their unwanted goods. And so she is going to help us with that part of the discussion today. So the very first thing about downsizing is embracing our downsizing mindset. How do we get our mind around downsizing? And for me, it's going to be a different topic or a different discussion when Karen talks to you. But for me, it's all about moving into that smaller home design, right? I want to talk about the smaller home design. And for, in talking to my clients, they're excited about it. They've gone through that mindset of being scared. So for a lot of people, it is a frightening, but it's also, it's difficult to make that transition from holding onto your home to being free from your home. And so the first phase is saying, okay, we're now finding joy in this new phase in our lives. Being free from the burden of your home and maybe a large mortgage or a lawn. One client gave me their dehumidifier when I was helping them with their home. I'm like, oh, I need a dehumidifier. I talked to him, I called him and interviewed him, and he was saying, I use your dehumidifier all the time. He's like, I forgot about needing a dehumidifier. That is one thing that is great about downsizing and being in a condo. I don't even need to think about a dehumidifier. You don't have to worry about when you travel. There's a lot of things that are freeing about not having a large home. Lawn care, there's a lot of different things. So finding joy in that. The other thing is being emotionally ready to let go of things that are precious to you, that you have sentimental attachment to, but you can gain freedom from that responsibility of owning them yourself, but also that responsibility of what do you do with them when you are no longer here. Now, this is something about downsizing that is kind of the elephant in the room. When you downsize, you're kind of facing your own mortality, right? For some people, not for everyone. I help people that downsize that are just wanting to get rid of their big home. They're not going to a retirement community or anything else like that, but they just want to downsize. But it's responsibility for yourself, but also for your family members, the burden of what to do with your stuff. So lifting that burden for your descendants. It's all about concessions, though. You're giving up something to gain something. Are you holding yourself back from being happy? What are you giving up to gain? And it's hard for people when they identify with their stuff. Their identity is tied around their belongings. That's when it is difficult. If they are their rug, they are that break front that they found in England. They are that bar that they got on a trip in China. They don't want to give it up. So that's when it's tough. So it's kind of an emotional separation that you need to go through because that bar from China won't fit in your new downsized place. Time to downsize is the time to do it when you can enjoy that downsized freedom. When you are active enough to be able to participate in that new active community. That's the time to downsize, right? And after you're settled in, you have that comfort to enjoy that lifestyle. You have a more predictable time ahead of you because you can say, okay, if you're going to a retirement community, you can say, okay, now I'm set up. I'm able to say, okay, I'm now able to say this is my lifestyle now, but if I need to have extended care, I'm now set up for that. I don't have to worry about downsizing again. I'm doing it now. And you're set up for the future. Okay, now I'm going to jump out and hand this over to, how does this look? I need to put it to the right thing, to Karen. Because she's going to talk about a different kind of downsizing mindset, and she's going to talk about the next few slides of the stuff you've got to do to think about getting rid of your things before you can do the pretty things. So, hand it over to Karen Bush.
Thank you, Kim. I don't know if my microphone is working, so I'll just speak a little more loudly.
Oh, that's yours.
Okay. So basically, like Kim is saying, you're embracing the new reality and the new opportunities that you have when you downsize. And so you need to start thinking about what are you going to be doing in your new home, and how are you going to best fit there. So one of the things is start thinking about, if you're used to hosting large parties, or you like to entertain and things like that, you probably have then a lot of entertaining equipment, like serving dishes and china and goblets and things like that. Well, you can still have a lot of fun with your friends, but instead of hosting them, instead of having them over, if you can meet them out instead. You start strategizing about how you can still meet those objectives, but maybe not with so much stuff. When you're in your new home, you also want to manage the space like it's prime real estate. So for instance, if you make coffee in the morning and you want to have all of your different coffees and all of the coffee accoutrements and things like that, you need to have that maybe in one separate section of the house, not all over the place. And you don't want to have to get around the big KitchenAid mixer that you maybe use twice a year or something like that that's sitting on the counter. So use your space as prime real estate and really have only the things that you need immediately accessible. Coming up, a lot of times when we go through the attics and the basements and the things like that where we've stored them there just in case we're going to need them. In a new place, you're going to need to start thinking not about just in case, but just in time. Oh, I'm going to be needing something. I gave it away. I either need to borrow somebody's or I need to find another way of doing it. So instead of holding on to something just in case, you actually can free yourself of that.
What did you say, just in time?
There's just in case and just in time.
I didn't get the just in time.
The just in time means, okay, I'm going to be doing something. Oh, I used to have this. I don't have it anymore. Maybe I can get away with using something else instead at that time, rather than holding on to something just in case I'm going to need it. Sorry about the audio. I don't know if that makes sense to you yet, but maybe it'll, sorry. I'm just going to take this off. We can talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, but the point is, rather than holding on to things just in case I'm going to need it, you let things go. Paring down your clothing, your kitchen gadgets, serving pieces, that type of stuff, really coming up with the things that you actually really need. In your smaller home that will make your life more easy. And like Kim was saying, you want to be planning for the future. So you're probably going to need to let go of making sure that walkways are wide enough so that, eventually you're going to be able to be there, like she said, forever. You don't want to do this again. All right, let's talk about then how we then get into the secrets of downsizing. Now, what I did with secrets, I don't want to oversell this, but basically it comes down to understanding what it takes to do this. And first of all, you need to make sure that you're allowing enough time to do the work. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times you'll see on TV these fantastic shows where they declutter and they, completely transform a home in 45 minutes and everything's great, right? Wouldn't that be fun? So it's not going to take that. It takes a lot longer. A lot of times when I'm working with clients, the most difficult part is figuring out where to start and how to get started, and then saying, okay, I'm going to start this project. Recognize that decluttering or downsizing a home, going through your things, can take about 200 hours. And that's a gauge that we've observed in our business, but is also somewhat standard in our industry, and that is from a medium-sized home, average, it's about 200 hours, but that's usually with a working diligently with a professional or so it may take longer.
That's about a week and a half.
No.
200 hours.
200 hours, that would be, if you were doing a 40-hour work week, that would be 5 weeks, and that would be nonstop hard work. So what we typically, if you try to work with a family member, maybe you want to help somebody or you want somebody to help you and they're related to you, a lot of times some people think that the left is organized and some people think that the right is organized, and so that can become very frustrating. So working with somebody you're related to or know intimately well can actually slow you down. And one thing is paper. A lot of us have paper. We've got all kinds of statements and things coming in all the time. That really is that and photos, to be honest, are the two hardest things to go through, the slowest. It's not necessarily hard, it's just it takes a long time and you don't see a lot of progress, so it gets frustrating. So understanding these components of the time factor, I think, is important. The second secret is realizing that it's going to cost money. Nobody wants to hear that, and I apologize, but the fact of the matter is, even if you held on to things that you just can't fit into your new home, and you're going to put it in a storage unit because just in case you might need it, that's going to cost you money on a monthly basis, and you need to really think about, do I really want to hold on to the stuff and invest the money into it just to hold on to it? The second thing is, unless your furnishings resemble what's in that second picture there, it's going to be very hard to sell your items because the market, which is the millennials that are coming up behind us, they don't really like the big furniture that we have all held on to. The beautiful dining room sets, the beautiful big sofas and things like that, big bedroom sets. They really don't. And so it's very hard to sell to anybody in the next generation, and it's very hard for anybody you donate your things or you try to sell through antique dealers and whatnot. It's very hard for them to sell it too because the market just isn't there.
What do they like?
That stuff.
Small stuff?
They like the industrial farmhouse look, and they like the mid-century modern look right now, which is mid-50s, very stylized, clean line type stuff. They don't like the things that I have and the things that maybe you have. So the other thing is, understand that even though perhaps you got something that you spent a lot of money on at some point, that money is sunk cost. And it's going to be very hard to get money out of that in selling something. And I have a picture here of an old tape player, because I know we all had them, but they're not necessarily going to bring in the money that you think they are. Having a yard sale is something a lot of times people want to do. And why do people like going to yard sales? They like them because it's cheap. Okay, if you're a seller, do you want it to be cheap? No, right? But that's what people are going to do. They're going to try to, maybe buy some of your stuff and just give you a couple dollars for it. So all of the effort that you put into trying to sell and get your items out onto the curb and whatnot to have your yard sale can be for naught, because you're really not going to pull in any money for it. And then lastly, when the stuff doesn't sell at the yard sale, yes, you can hire a donation truck to come and pick it up, or you can have a hauler come and pick it up. But again, that's going to cost money. So far we've got time and we've got money. In order to do this, you really need to be ruthless, and you need to have a plan. So here's a picture of one of our clients' basements, the before picture. You know, you stand there and you wonder, how do I start? And you need to come up with a plan. And basically, the way that we do it is that we have different types of boxes, and we have a garbage bag and we have a recycling bag. And you need to put pretty much everything in a donate, a put away, consign, or an action box. That's assuming that you're going to do something with it as opposed to keeping it. Notice that there's no maybe box, or I don't know what to do with it box, or I'll think about it later box. No, you need to be ruthless. Yes?
You said keep it, trash it, recycle it, and what's the fourth one?
Consign.
Okay.
The other thing is, with your plan, you really need to be focusing on the items that you personally own and have dominion over, right? So if your spouse has a collection of something, that's really not your area to go through. That's not fair, it's theirs, let's not do that. But they need to understand that they're part of the equation as well, and that they need to go through their things as well. So you need to, and the other part is, with any plan, you need to have timelines and deadlines. So to say, I need you to go out and clean the garage, or I need you, whatever, I need you to do it this week. We need to get this done now, that type of thing. And then lastly, once you've gone through it methodically, it's the same shelf after we were done, you really end up keeping the things that you need and letting go of the things that you don't. And you have action items for what you're going to do with them. You're either going to donate, consign, put it away, or maybe it needs to, you need to return something to your sister, or a neighbor that you borrowed something from. Okay. Next thing is, your resources is your energy and fatigue. This is a hard process. You're going through your whole life's worth of stuff, right? So there's a lot of emotions and sentimentality attached to your things. So, because you're going to be examining everything, it takes a long time, and that's part of the reason why it takes 200 hours on average, because you really are going through everything. So what we recommend is to manage your energy and fatigue, that you do this in sections of 2 to 3 hours. Set aside 2 to 3 hours each session, and make sure that you're getting food, and that you're hydrating yourself, that you're drinking whatever caffeine you need in the morning to get going, whatever. Do your normal routine. Don't decide today's the day I'm going to start a diet and go through the house. That's not a great idea. You're going to have a headache, you're going to be cranky, and nobody's going to want to be near you. We recommend taking 10-minute breaks every now and then, so that you can get that water, you can take care of things, whatever, so that it isn't too overbearing, and that you listen to some fun music, right? So sometimes people find opera to be music that enthuses them, they can work by. Other times people like popular music, they can bop around to things that make them happy. What I don't recommend is listening to the news. That's not a good thing. Oh. And if you have a friend that you can work with, that you get along well with, and that understands your objectives, that's always a great way to work. Notice I didn't say family member. Okay. Mind to ease. This is the hard part. This is the emotions and everybody else. So you've inherited things. You've received wedding gifts and many long years ago that you still don't like. Realize you've gotten certificates, you've gotten, most prolific something or other, awards, right? You've got all these things around your house, and they may have been important to you at one time, they may not be important to you in your new chapter. Recognize that they're just things, that they don't think, they don't feel, and if you decide to let go of them, they're not going to hate you for it, okay? Some of those, if we have, hold on one second. You might have some things that have been left behind by people that are no longer living with you. If you give them, again, the timeline and the deadline and you say, I need you to go through this stuff because otherwise it's leaving. I had one client say to her children, I am no longer going to support the shrine to your childhood. And they listened, and they got their stuff out before she got rid of it for her. And like I was saying, you may have inherited something from somebody, maybe you did or didn't like, and you do or don't like the thing. You have permission. We're giving you permission today. You can let go of that stuff and don't feel remorse necessarily. You can also offer it to other members of your family that maybe, they've always loved Aunt Ginny's settee, but okay, come and get it, because I'm not going to keep it anymore. And really, minding your emotions and everything else is it's a lot easier if you keep your eye on the goal of what you're trying to do. Okay, this is the secret sauce, and I love it so much that I gave you a copy of it in your packet. Keep only what you love and or need. Some people, I don't know if you've heard of that book that came out in recent years. I'm going to get the title. It's the KonMari method. I don't know if anyway, it's the Japanese method of making your life better by getting rid of your stuff, basically. She talks about only keep the things that spark joy, right? That's about the only part of that book I agree with, by the way. But there's something to that. If you love it or you need it, that's your first thing. And if you don't love it and you don't need it, you need to examine why you still have it. And if it is in good shape, or it works, so you love it, you need it, it's in good shape and it works, and it fits your body, your lifestyle, or your home, and you don't have a lot of them, then you can keep it. Find a place. And the old adage of a place for everything and everything in its place really, really does work here, okay? So for instance, if you have, 10 pairs of khakis or jeans or something like that, if you love them, they're in good shape, they all fit your body and your lifestyle, but you have 10 pair of them, I would suggest you maybe think about not having 10 pair of them, okay? So if you don't have a lot of it, if you do have a lot of it, it's time to maybe donate it because you have enough. If it doesn't fit your body, your lifestyle, or your home, it's time to donate it because it's really not part of your life anymore. If it's not in good shape, then either fix it now or let it go. I know a lot of us have, I'm going to fix that someday. I'm going to get around to that. I'm going to fix that. Really examine whether or not you're really going to get to it. And then lastly there, if you don't love it or need it, then why are you holding on to it? It's time to let it go. Okay, you had a question a minute ago?
I was just going to suggest that something I heard one time is that these things that you keep because they bring you wonderful memories, take a picture, make an album, and then you've got those memories without all that space.
That's exactly, that's another really good way of doing it. I didn't mention that only because sometimes people are drowning in their photos as well. So, but you're right. That is one way of letting go of something and holding on to remembering it, having the memory because you have a picture of that item, but you don't necessarily have to keep that item. Okay, options for disposing of these unwanted belongings. Now that you've gone through this and you know what you're letting go of. There's the sell versus give away. Let's talk about the sell aside first. Consignment stores. They're around, they pop up all the time, different places. Some places are for clothes, some places are for furniture, some places take all kinds of stuff. Really that's something that is an option, but keep in mind that when most of them will have a 50% sale price fee that they charge, and then you get the other 50%. All right, so right now, your item that won't sell for a lot of money is now only half. You're only going to get half back of what you think or what it actually sells for, which could be much less than what you're expecting. If you sell things by yourself, the things in the purple box are all online. So if you're savvy on the computer and you like doing these types of things, these are some of the ones that you can turn to and have some success on. However, there's always a however. Craigslist, as I'm sure you're aware, it can be kind of scary because you have people coming to your home that you don't know, or you meet them somewhere, like in an open parking lot or something, if you're going to be selling something. That's hard if it's a big piece of furniture. So that's a little bit sketchy. There's another online network called Nextdoor, which has come up in the recent years, and that's more community-based, and that has a lot of areas that are very successful at posting things. You don't know whether or not it sells because once it's out there for a while, it either sells or it doesn't. There's no way of checking. But that can be a little less scary than Craigslist. eBay is you know, maybe all of you have done this before, but eBay, it's a very suppressed market. So, you know, you might have jewelry that you want to sell, but you can only get maybe $10 for something that's really worth hundreds because the market is so suppressed. There are specialty online sites that pop up all the time. I really don't have any personal experience using these, but I do know that some people do have them. But it tends to be things that are fashionable now, as opposed to things that you might have in your closet. There are online auction options called, two of which that I'm aware of are called Max Sold and Everything But the House. And those are options that you can use where you basically catalog the things put into lots, like a lot of kitchenware and silverware, and you go through the house and you have different lots of vases and other tchotchkes or whatnot. And then the way that those work is that you have the online auction for 2 weeks, and at one given day, everything sells online. The money is, they have to pay ahead of time, and then they're given a slot of time that they can come to the house and pick up their stuff. So that's a new and growing thing that several people opt for. We talked about the yard sale, and then the last selling option that I wanted to talk about was estate sales. And there are some estate sale companies that are actually very good, that handle this very well. But the big downside is that you're going to have people tracking through your house on a given weekend, and that may or may not be an attractive option for you. Usually the best time to do that is once you've already left the house. Your giveaway options are, you know, you can call for a free donation truck. Some that we really like are Green Drop, Goodwill, Salvation Army, and Habitat for Humanity. They're fairly easy. You can schedule them online and they can come and pick things up. There are some limitations of what they can and can't take, but they usually specify that. If you have a collection of donatable items as well as trash, you may want to just go with the paid hauling truck. 123 Junk and 1-800-GOT-JUNK are two very strong and professional outfits that we've used before. We've heard about this free estate cleanout that Green Drop offers. We've not done it ourselves with any of our clients yet, but that is when they will actually come into your house. They will not charge you anything for it, but they will pack things up, the things that you don't want, okay, not the things that you do want. They will pack things up and they will take it away free of charge, but then what they do is they go and sell it, and then they use that money for various charities that you designate. And then there's things like specialized donations, like Women Giving Back, which is an organization in Sterling that collects clothes for women getting back on their feet, and I think children's clothes as well. You can also donate office supplies to schools, or any golf clubs you have hanging around. I'm sure there are places that you can find donations will be accepted for sporting goods. And then lastly, Free Cycle is another online option where you can work with people in your community to keep things out of the landfill. So that's another way of freely giving away your things. Okay. Kim, oh yes, did you have a question?
I have used two other organizations recently to sell things online. I've used OfferUp and Let Go.
Okay.
And I've sold things from both of them.
Great.
Let Go and OfferUp.
Okay, thank you for offering those. You're right, I didn't capture all of them. There's a lot that are out there.
Okay, thank you, Karen.
Pretty much.
So this is kind of moving linearly, in a linear fashion. We had Karen cleaning out your house for you, and now we're getting your house ready for the market. Prepping your home for sale. And you know, if you've put your house on the market before, or if you're a real estate agent, or if you've dealt with a realtor, this is all stuff that you guys know already. And you know it intuitively, so this is just kind of a refresher course for you. But hopefully it's a good reminder for you. And the number one thing that is the most difficult for a lot of people is to take away the emotion from selling your home. If you've been in your home for a number of years, or even if you haven't, people get really attached to their homes, right? You've raised your children there, maybe you've renovated yourself, you put your heart and soul into your home for most people, and so selling it and giving it to somebody else, turning it over to somebody else and not knowing what they're going to do to it is really a difficult thing for a lot of people, and I've seen it. It is very, very difficult. So taking away, stepping back from it and realizing that, oops, sorry, wrong way. Realizing that it is a investment. It is a transaction. It is no longer your home. It is an asset you need to get top dollar for, and that you want to try and hand over to someone as easily, as quickly, and as painlessly as possible. And that should be your goal. And to do that, we need to remove the emotion and as much sentimentality as possible, and remove as much of yourself as possible. So we're going to be talking about different ways of doing that. So we're trying to depersonalize the home. We're trying to make it as palatable as possible for as many people as possible, as marketable as possible, and as best looking as possible. And you know, again, you guys know this. First impressions stick, right? There are too many options when you are looking for a home. So they are trying to eliminate options as soon and as quick as possible. The first thing is they're going to drive to your home, and they're going to say, okay, never would live in this neighborhood, keep on driving, we don't even need to look at the home. If they drive to your neighborhood and say, okay, I can live in this neighborhood, let's go see the house. Then they drive it to your home, and it might look like this. They'd say, I am never going to live in that home. Don't even need to go look inside it, keep on driving. Check that one off, good, I have one less house to look at today. They're looking for ways to eliminate options. You don't want to have your house be on the chopping block. That's the first thing. The second thing to remember is that curb appeal is key, and that the first impressions stick. First of all, that's the first thing I want to talk about. But that your home is if everything that you do to your home to get it ready for selling is making it easy for you when you move. That's the second thing. But before I talk about that, I want to stick to this curb appeal thing, because what you do to the outside of your home and those impressions that they think about, those keywords they put in your house, in your mind, kept up well, new. Well maintained. Those words that get in their head are hard to change, whether they are good words or whether they are negative words. Those words, once they enter your home, are going to be difficult to change. They're going to be reiterated again and again and again. They're going to be, and it's going to be difficult to change them. So you want those words to be good words. Spending money is going to make you money. You all know this. But that doesn't mean you have to spend $100,000 on a new kitchen. So we're going to talk about ways that are going to be inexpensive ways. Some of the ways are going to be expensive, but some of the ways I'm going to teach you or talk to you about, they're going to be little tricks that are going to be big bang for the buck of making your house look better for the market. The first thing, of course, is paint. All realtors are going to tell you to paint your home and to neutralize it for the market. And I agree with that. Most homes should have just, vanillize the whole thing, a nice neutral color. Right now, gray is hot, kind of going out of vogue a little bit, but you want to have a nice neutral color that goes nicely with your carpet. It doesn't matter if it's a gray, it needs to go nicely with your carpet and nicely with the things that are in your home if you're staging your house. But a little personality in the home makes your home memorable, makes your home stand out a little bit. So I think it's nice to have a little bit of personality. And this is a home that has every wall in there is an edgecomb gray, and then one wall in it has a nice color to it. It's also carried in other walls there. You'll see if rooms that I've designed with clients have my logo in them. If it doesn't have my logo, that means it's an image that I've taken off the web. Here is a kitchen that is a good example of how to do an upgrade for your kitchen for not very much money. So the first thing that you want to do when you put your house on the market with your kitchen is, of course, take everything off your countertops, right? You want to basically gut your kitchen from the countertops down. So if you have anything above your countertops, you want to take that off. If you have anything on your countertops, you want to take that off. If you have anything in the room, on a baker's rack or a bookcase or anything in that kitchen, out, 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 out. Then you want to scrub that kitchen really, really well. The next thing, paint that kitchen. Paint it. Find a great color that goes with whatever you have in there if you're not going to tear anything out or replace it, and paint it nice and fresh and clean. Those are the basic things that really must happen before you put your house on the market. And pretty easy that any homeowner, pretty much any homeowner can do on their own. Next level up, okay, leveling up a little bit. In this kitchen, we painted the cabinets. These were flat panel cabinets, so they were pretty easy, just a little bit of detailing in them. We changed the hardware, and that's a pretty easy thing to do, especially if it's knobs. And your realtor will tell you if your knobs are dated and bad, and if you can paint your cabinets. So if they're a heavy oak cabinetry, they're difficult to paint. If they're a dark, heavy oak cabinet, that's not an easy thing to do, especially if you're going dark to light, so not easy to do. If they're already a light cabinetry and they're flat like this, that's pretty dang easy. This is not a big transition to make. Another big change is to change your backsplash. And that, again, some homeowners can do that themselves also, and if not, a contractor can do that for not very much money. This countertop is a in-stock Lowe's laminate countertop. Looks like granite, is not granite. This was not a super high-end home. It was in Vienna, and we did a huge change. We put in a new tile floor, 12 by 24-inch tile floor here that I straight stacked, not brick stacked. That means they're just one on top of the other. We got a 10-foot run here and a little 6-foot run, and there's another piece of countertop over here. New backsplash, painted the countertops, painted the kitchen, got a new piece of art over here and a new rug. This kitchen looks drastically different from what it was, including my contractor for this kitchen. This whole kitchen was under $6,000 to change this drastically different kitchen. So there's the minimal things can be done to have crazy change impact on the kitchen. One of the other things that we did was we put in some recessed lighting in here. So we got rid of her old light, which was a big fluorescent light, and we just put in some recessed lighting in here. Another big change and upgrade. Bathrooms, big change in bathrooms. Minimal thing to do. Minimal thing to do if you have an old vanity like this, or the metal slide Rusto vanity thing, take that one out and put a flat mirror. A framed mirror, just a flat mirror. Cost you 20 bucks, but that'll be a very big upgrade and a big change. If you can also change the light fixture right here like this, big change. Do nothing else, and that'll be a huge improvement in your bathroom. Huge improvement. If you can also get a contractor to change the vanity. This was an online vanity that came with this and with this piece. And that, we actually gutted this whole entire bathroom, and I ended up getting some really cool light fixtures I found, and we put them to the side, and this was a big gut that we did, but you can see the big change that it made here. But those two things, just the mirror and the light is big, but the vanity is a big change. I'm going to show you a picture of a Home Depot vanity that's under $300, and if you can get a handyman to replace your vanity for a few $100s, you can have a big change for under $1,000 in your bathroom for a big change. This is a bathroom, huge transformation, and all I did, now this was a very fortunate homeowner who had beautiful gray tile. Now, I have been in some homes here in Northern Virginia that have some crazy colors for their tiles. I'd love to take a poll because I love to go into homes and one home I've been in that had like a very crazy kind of corally color, and I'm just like, oh, I'm very sorry about this. but there's some mint, there's yellow, there's coral, there's, you all know what I'm talking about, you've lived in Northern Virginia. Hers is beautiful, this gray color, right? And she's got a really nice gray floor also. But her bathroom was really pretty horrific when she asked me to come help her, but she had a super tight budget. And all I did was find this wonderful piece of art online at one of my favorite sites, Design with a Z, online. It's a stretch canvas photo of these pebbles. We found a matching floor mat here. I found a color that was a continuation of her color on her tile. We took off this old, she had a really gross treatment here. We found a white shower curtain. White shower curtains neutralize bathrooms really well. And another fun piece of art over here. Painted her vanity, and this bathroom looks, and also got a new light fixture here. Crazy new bathroom for very, very, very little money, and it looks like such a huge difference in there. And she did it all herself, because all she did was painting, basically. Cleaning, painting, ordering the art, ordering the mat, and it was a huge difference. This, on the other hand, is not what you want to do when you put your bathroom on the market, but this is a bathroom that I did for someone whose favorite color is orange, and I was actually doing her basement, and we did this as a kind of a side project. Her husband travels to India all the time, they love India, and he had just come back with this little, you can't really see it here, but this is a little elephant, and it was going to go on a wall, and I actually attached it to a little mirror, a 12 by 12 mirror. I found this photo mural, it's a National Geographic photo mural. The point of this bathroom is that I did very little to transform this bathroom. We changed the floor, we changed the vanity, we changed the mirror, I hung a chandelier over here, we painted the ceiling gold. This bathroom looked horrific before, and now she loves this bathroom. We didn't change the shower, we just hung a really cool shower curtain here, but it's got this, it's a wow bathroom now. And it took about a week and a half to change this bathroom, and very little money. And this was an in-stock piece vanity at Home Depot, an in-stock chandelier, and it's a crazy cool vanity. So again, big changes. This is under $300 vanity at Home Depot.
Question.
Yeah.
That transformation, you didn't do any major plumbing changes?
Nothing at all.
Just fixtures?
Literally, we didn't even touch the shower. We put a shower curtain in front of it. We kept the toilet exactly where it was. We kept the sink where it was. We just replaced the vanity. That's the only thing we did. Everything was in the same location, exactly. So now we're talking about some other simple things you can do to get your house ready for the market. And one of the big things is to take down your window treatments. So the current trend now is to have either very simple window treatments or no window treatments at all. So a lot of people are, even all different generations are saying, I'm sick of window treatments, and they don't want window treatments. So whatever your market is that you're targeting for your sale of your home, a lot of times it's no window treatments. So think about that, especially if you have 4 window treatments, take them down. If they are flouncy like this, take them down. Just take them down. Repair your walls. Don't think about putting anything up. Yes?
Wooden shutters, is that a problem?
No, those are great. If you have hardwood floors, oh my gosh. Don't clean your rugs. Don't vacuum your rugs. Take those rugs out. Refinish your floors. Get them on the market. That is a huge upgrade. Huge upgrade, huge value. And you will increase the value of your home instantaneously, and you will increase the saleability of your home instantaneously if you pull out that wall-to-wall carpet. People want hardwood floors. I'm not telling you to install hardwood floors to put your house on the market, but if you do, it'll sell quicker, and it'll probably sell for more money if you do. So it'll come right back to you if you do. Yeah?
We're in the process of doing this now, and we noticed when we lifted one of the rugs, the sun had reached the hardwood.
Right.
So we need to refinish.
Right. That's what you need to do. And usually you do need to refinish it, especially if you have wall-to-wall underneath of it. You're going to have tack strips, and you're going to have sometimes it's glued down, things like that. So yeah, you might need to refinish things. Yeah.
Where'd you go for the hardwood? Like, where would you go?
There's a lot of places that I can talk to you about afterward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Quick question about the drapes.
Uh-huh.
House is blasted with sun, you gotta have something. Just,
If this is if you're putting your house on the market.
well, even, I'm going there.
Oh,
I
okay.
just have, I put up the pole that will pull them all the way back.
Right,
With
right.
the sun reflector on back.
Uh-huh.
You gotta do something that's gonna.
There's different options.
It keeps the house.
Right. Now, when we're talking about designing a new home, when I design homes with people, there are reasons for putting window treatments up. And I love window treatments. I am not anti-window treatments. I think they're fantastic. And I always talk to the people, because whenever I design a room, I always say, number one is functionality. What is the function of the room, first of all? And so the window treatments, again, what is the function of the window treatment? Do you need it for sunblock? Do you need it for privacy? Do you need it for decorative? Do you need it to frame the room out? Do you need it to carry the color around the room? Do you need it to help with the style, for layering? What is the reason for the window treatment? And so, you know, you look at that and you say, okay, how can we do this and achieve our goal? So we just would look at that and would try and just
Keep
achieve
it
that.
simple for
Um,
facilitating purposes, just keep it simple.
Absolutely. Keep it, that's the point. The point is keep it simple. Yeah, absolutely. Oops, going the wrong way here. Okay, all right, I need to kind of, the other thing that, about reselling your house, staging your bookcases. Again, you're pre-moving. Take out most everything in your bookcase. This is a very simple bookcase I staged. These people don't have books. And these things this is just for show, right? These people have books, but again, I staged this so that there's some empty things. There's no books on this bookshelf here. This is just a few stacked books on this bookshelf that I did for them. Also, I painted the back of this red, which is I really liked. But if you're moving, you want to pre-move when you're staging your home. So pack away. First of all, have Karen help you sort through all your books and get rid of most of them. And then just pack the ones that you want to move, and then just stage your bookcases. Depersonalize your home. Of course, this is number one rule. Get down your family pictures, and then clean up your walls. With your bedding for your bedrooms, if you've got really, really busy bedding, pack it away, take it to your next home, but put a very nice neutral white bedding. White bedding always looks fresh, always looks neutral. It's not going to make anybody look at your room and go, oh my gosh, that's terrible. You want to make sure you are as palatable and appealing to as many people as possible. If you have any one of these light fixtures in your home, take it down. Replace it with anything in Home Depot or Lowe's. Anything in Home Depot or Lowe's will be better than any one of these light fixtures. They're all very dated. They all will bring down the sale of your home. That is my personal opinion. Okay, now we're going on to some of the fun stuff. Planning features and furnishings for your new, smaller space. I was very fortunate to live 2 doors down from Charles and Eileen Duggan. I don't know if any of you know them, but they were members of OLLI for 15 years. Charles was the president of OLLI from between 2004 and 2007. And they helped me with this. I helped them downsize when they moved to Ashby Ponds, and I interviewed them extensively. And so I've used their home as an example of this downsizing. But one of the first things is talking about maybe boxes, which Karen already talked about, but how the maybe boxes will become stumbling blocks. And don't bring it if it doesn't have a home. You shouldn't bring it to your new home. If it's not decided upon before that move, the decision is not going to be made in your new home either. You got to decide now, because you take it to the new home, you're like, oh, I'll figure it out when I move. No, it's not going to happen. But the worst part for me is that when you figure it out later and you bring it to your new home, basically that's just going to take up square feet in your new smaller home. So it's just going to become eyesore burden, lots of square feet in your new home. So just get rid of those maybe boxes. This is really messy looking. But this is a floor plan that I worked on with family a few years ago. I think it was 2010 is what I saw there. And what it shows here is all these notes on here. They make sense to me, and it looks really messy, but this is what you do. So I actually start with people at their new home, and we really focus on, I actually had like 3 or 4 of this in their file. This was one of the neater ones, actually. And it's got his notes and my notes, and I actually worked with the husband because we were doing this for his wife that has MS, and so it was the husband I worked with. But it's, we went through every room, it's got all our different notes, measurements on here, because, we're talking about, will the couch fit? Will the mirror fit? Here's like mirror here, there's chair rail right here. And we really analyze every single wall, every single space, because every single space has to be analyzed. Do we want to have, right here we have this orange color because it's like, okay, we're going to put orange here. It's really about just so much forethought going into your new home, and every bit of forethought is going to make your new home and your smaller space make so much more sense. Here is the a room-by-room list of needs is the first thing you do. So first, the functional needs. So you've got the paint color is the first thing. Actually, the paint color is the last thing I decide upon, but I put it as the first thing on the list because every room needs paint color. So for sure you don't need that. You might need art, you might need window treatments, you might need storage, bedding, ceiling fans, TV, rugs and flooring, lighting and lamps, and maybe towels, and maybe a shower curtain. These are just some of the things that we're looking at. What does the room need? What's it going to need? Then we're going to look over here at the furniture. What kind of furniture are we going to need in the room? We're going to need beds and TV stands and side tables, maybe a bar area, different chairs or tables or desks or office chairs, or some dining storage. So we really say, how does the room need to function? What does it need to do for us? And how can we make sure that it has the highest functionality for us? Then we're going to make sure that this is our opportunity. This is our blank slate. We are starting from ground zero, right? And we look at this empty condo, this empty home, and we say, every single thing we bring into this home should be fantastic. Everything we bring to this home should be highly functional, should be highly coordinated with everything else in here, and we should love. We should elevate the space. Because if you start with your new home, you dedicate yourself to thoughtfully put only things that will elevate and bring up the room, you're going to love your home. And everything in the room is either going to add to the functionality, the beauty, the style, and design, or it's going to take away from it and bring the space down. So just keep that in mind. Here's your opportunity to elevate every single room and every single thing you bring into your downsized space. Here's the Douglas floor plan. And I'm getting really short on time, so I'm going to kind of go through things quickly. I'm going to go through the slides now without kind of having it make too much sense, but here's their master bedroom over here, and their master bathroom. Here's their kitchen area, their dining room, and their family room. Here's their second bedroom and their second bathroom. And here's their den right off of their family room. Here's the den, here's where we have the office. It's going to make sense when I show you the pictures. Here's where Charles sits and here's where Arlene sits. So that's going to make sense when I show you some of the slides. Here's our old house. What we want to do is we're going to assess all the belongings room by room. So we looked at their old floor plan and we knew kind of what we were going to do. But then we went through their house, which fortunately was 2 houses away from me, so that was very nice. Not like their new home, which was 45 minutes away from us. But we have a clipboard, and we wrote down every single piece of furniture in their house. And it was kind of like, what was important to them to bring? First of all, you start with that. Like, what do they love? Is there things that are like, this absolutely has to go to the new home? For Charles and Eileen, one of the first things was the dining room table. They really were hoping to bring the dining room table, but they knew it might be too big. And we had just recovered these chairs, and they hoped that it would come with us. They were hoping to bring their rugs. Charles was hoping to bring the rugs. Eileen was not hoping to bring the rugs. And that's a new thing, is that the style might not translate to your new home. These 2 chairs would work. They were hoping to make this couch work, but it was way too big. And a lot of the things weren't going to work. They had a lot of great art. And we needed to find, they had very, very, very minimal wall space and a lot of art. And we had to see, how are we going to make that work in the new house? You see these 3 pieces over here. We said, I looked at these and said, there's some great colors in this that you're not pulling out here. And Eileen loved purple, was her favorite color. And I saw some purple in these, and I said, we can make purple work in your new home. And she says, really? We can make purple? And Charles, fortunately, is 100% colorblind. So it didn't matter what he thought. So that, 100% colorblind, he just doesn't see any color. So, so like nothing in this room could come with us except for this piece of art. And this couch, like I say, was way too big to bring. These tables way too big to bring. This is their basement bedroom set. And the headboard, footboard was too big. This was too big to bring. You'll see this picture in their bedroom, which I found a great wall color for. We just recently painted this and got some new drapes for it, but they didn't translate in the new home. So we're reimagining the current furnishings in the new home and saying, okay, you've got lots of furniture and lots of different rooms. Now we're going down to very few rooms. Can we, mix it up? Can we say, oh, this chair might go with this. Can this art go with this? How are we going to mix it up? So in the second bedroom, there's actually things from like 4 or 5 different rooms. We have art from many different places. This was in the basement family room. This was in the upstairs den. There's just different things from all over the place that we put in different places. We reimagined the wall coloring in here. Had to get a new headboard because the headboard footboard was too big for that room. So reimagined things in that. Here's this purple color I pulled out. So we used a purple color on the wall in the entryway. Their colors were purple and a light blue and a kind of gray taupe colors for their new home, and which we were able to find in this beautiful rug here. So it all really blended together really beautifully in their new condo. Flowed together really beautifully. One of this is unusual wall display. You might want to title this thing "Unusual Handyman" here. Hanging some shelves for them here, which they had in their other house, because they didn't think they were going to be able to bring these cool shelves they had made. They have a lot of art, and we ran out of wall space. There's like hardly no wall space. But what we were able to do is think ahead and say, okay, can we design this space in your den, in your office area, to display some art? So actually, this was over the fireplace, and designed it to hold this piece of art perfectly. And it fit the piece of art perfectly, because he designed it, thought ahead. And empty on the 2 sides here. This is one side, and this is the other side over here where Charles sits and where Eileen sits over here, so that we could put those shelves on either side. So with forethought, we can make it work really to your advantage. So here's the Duggan's floor plan again that I was going to talk about. So for them, the key to successful downsizing really is being willing to let things go and being excited about the new phase in life. So, tips for making a small space live big is to really think about, okay, you got to think ahead. Your walls aren't going to stretch to accommodate your big stuff. You can't just like move your stuff in and say, it'll fit, we'll make it work, we'll figure it out. No, it's not going to happen. Your walls aren't going to stretch like Stretch Armstrong here. It's not going to work. Properly sized furniture. In this house, it looks big because it's got this 2-story room that I designed, but what I put in here was very small track arms, these 2 couches that are exact same size, no side tables worked in here, I couldn't even put sofa tables in the back of these couches, and just a very small sculptural coffee table between these pieces. So it's great for conversation. Also these 2 pieces here that are armless, usually sit on either side of the fish tank here, but it can be pulled in for more seating and for conversation. But properly sized furniture and less of it. In a small home, sometimes one big piece of furniture looks better. So this is a small sized sectional because this is just for TV watching. I have the TV over here on an angle. This isn't a conversation area, this is just for the family for TV watching. But more furniture would look really busy in here. And then another trick for making your house look bigger is to have the walls similar color to your furniture. So there's not much contrast in the room. You've colored your walls and your furniture in similar colors like I designed here in this room. Having multifunctional furniture is key in a small home. In this room here, I've got this this is hard to see, but this dining room set right here is so multifunctional. They use this for office space, for breakfasting, for big meals, for pulling these dining room chairs over into this is the other half of this room. For extra seating over here. So having these need to be really heavily padded so that they were really comfortable because people sit in them all the time. In this room here, This ottoman does all kinds of things. You can put a tray on top of it, you can store in it, you can sit on it, you can use it for feet. This is actually a sofa bed. How multifunctional is that? This becomes an extra bedroom. Here we have, if you want to have your room be more open, you want to choose legs instead of skirted furniture, because the room stops where you have a skirt. So right here, this room is stopped right here and stopped right here when you have a skirt. If you have legs, then you don't, then you see underneath of it, so it's much more open. Acrylic furniture, when you don't see the furniture, it's not even there. So your room is really open. I've never put acrylic furniture in anyone's home, but it's kind of modern and kind of cool, so that's good. That's pretty good. But glass tables, this is a room I designed, and I think glass tables do the same kind of thing. Here's what I pulled off the internet that is a great glass table, but another thing that is great about this picture is this mirror, which really does open up a room if you put a mirror in the right place. And here's some other examples of that. Putting a mirror behind furniture will expand the room, will open up the room. A mirror in a small bathroom, instead of just putting it over the sink. Here, this bathroom is one of the smallest bathrooms I've ever designed, and it's a 36-inch wide mirror, it's a 48-inch wide mirror in an almost 48-inch wide bathroom, and that bathroom looks a lot bigger because of it. Here I put this mirror opposite. This is actually behind the door. When you put mirrors behind mirrors, it's a super expander. I grabbed this shelf with a mirror behind it and glass shelves on it, which I designed. Need to keep on going here. In a small space, if you have extra closets, you can repurpose those closets. So you might have your clothes closet and then have another small closet, and you can say, okay, I have a small closet, but I need a gift wrap center area, or I need another office area, or I need a sewing little area, or I need an area to do my fly fishing ties, or whatever it is, or my craft area. You can convert that closet into another area other than just a closet area for you. Other ways to utilize storage opportunities. I love this one right here, where they took this tiny bedroom and they put the night chest up on the wall, and even this light on the wall, and they put this lucite chair here. You're going to see it. That's a great way to spend that room. Using areas where you don't normally use storage, up over doors, like right here and right here. Or underneath windows like this and this, grabbing spaces that aren't usually normally used for storage, grab those spaces for storage. Or underneath beds like right here and right here. At the same time, and this is some custom storage that I have had. My custom cabinetry guys, they're actually in town right now. They are living in Indiana. They're Mennonite Amish cabinet makers that make anything. This is the Duggins house again, that we had some custom storage built. This is what it looked like when they bought the condo. It was a plug-in electric fireplace, and the Duggins have a ton of wonderful art, like I said, and we were able to have them build this beautiful custom storage here. They've also built all these other different kinds of pieces for us. If you can't build custom storage, you can have other kinds of freestanding storage that also can work just really well for you. But you also should remember to plan your empty space, because if you have just things like around every single doorway and floor to ceiling and wall to wall, your room starts looking really busy and really crowded and really smaller. So at least 10% of your empty space open will make your room feel expanded and bigger. Visual breathing room makes your room feel a little bit more spacious and not so crowded. So here are a few tips and tricks for a couple next pages. They're not like building and buying custom storage. It might be very expensive. Taking doors off internal rooms that don't need doors. That's going to open up your space, like between a kitchen and a dining room. Using stripes can elongate a room and make it feel much more open and larger. Getting a strong focal point. Even in a really small room, a strong focal point will draw you into that room and will also help diffuse things that are imperfections in the room. So it'll take away from the things that are not so great about that room. So that's a really strong key. Here are some big impact, even in a small room. Big impact art has a big impact. I'm going to keep on going here because I want to leave some time for some questions if you have some. Making your new small space your home. We've kind of talked about these different ideas as we've gone along, but deciding on your style is kind of the first thing when you are moving into your new space. And these are some different styles here, but Kara mentioned a couple different ones that are popular right now. Urban style, mid-century. A lot of people in this area really like transitional style, which is like traditional with some modern leanings. And that's what I work with a lot of people. Just kind of a tailored down kind of traditional style, but has a lot of kind of modern feel to it. And then deciding on your color palette. What is your color palette going to be? And in a small living space, a color palette that is a good flow in all the common areas. Keeping the same color palette is really key to making it really kind of work well for you. I recommend getting a dominant color, secondary color, and an accent color. And just keeping within those three colors makes it really simple for decorating and designing your space. And it can be whatever colors you want to work with, but starting with that really makes sense and helps you out. This is an example of how that can work in a space using the wall color. Your couch is the secondary color, and the accent color is that 10% there. If you want to have your space feel as big as possible, have less contrast. So colors on the color wheel that are next to each other, or variations of the same color, will expand your space. So the less contrast, the larger and the more open the space feels, because there's not this juxtaposition, there's not this choppiness, there's more subtlety in the space, so it's more open feeling. And again, when you design a room, you want to start with the rug. Always is the hardest thing to find, and the best way to pull the colors from. And these are some bad examples of some things you should not do in your space, okay? Especially in a small space. Extra ruffles, extra fringe, extra heaviness, extra darkness, extra wood, extra pillows, extra stuff makes the small space feel really, really crowded. So if this is your style and you like ornate things, you can do it, but do it in a more simplified way. Here are some examples of different pattern plots that I've used for different clients that we start with. But remember, when you do a pattern plot, like this is the rug, so it's the busiest thing in the room. Everything else is simple, right? This is the chair covers of the dining room, and this is the flooring. But you want to have like one busy fabric and then simple fabrics to go with it. So keep patterns simple, especially in a small space. So we have this review here of the things we talked about with home planning, and then we have our session wrap-up, which is just basically kind of what we talked about in our class today. And we have just a few minutes left if anybody has any questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just was
Karen,
asking about the hardwood floors.
Sure.
Whatever people want in their floor. You said something about kitchens could have tile or whatever on the floor. But I wondered about big spaces like living room and stuff.
Sure. So hardwood floors are in new home builds. People put hardwood floors throughout the entire main level, and usually throughout the entire upper level also. So it would be and it doesn't need to be an entire hardwood. It can be an engineered hardwood, which would be like just a 1/4 of an inch hardwood on top. But and right now lighter woods are not yellow woods, but kind of the not super dark woods, but a lighter medium tone brown, a little bit wider oak, plank. Thank you. But if you go to any reputable, like I love Dominion Floor in Arlington, right in the Harrison Shopping Center. They're great. They're a really good reputable place. They can also help you.
Okay.
Yes,
I have a red kitchen. My real estate
That's my
agent
favorite
almost
color.
cried.
that's my favorite color ever.
Oh, is it?
It is.
I love my red kitchen. She said, get it out. Do something.
Yes.
Get over it.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
Of course. Yes. So I think red, a little bit of red goes a very long way. I have a red kitchen too, but it looks red when you walk in, but there's very little red. But the red is continuations of ribbons of red throughout the room. I have lots of red in there, but it's like little bits of red throughout the room. So a little bit of red goes a very long way, and if you painted your whole entire kitchen red, it's a lot of red. And you want, and again, remember what my first slide was. You need to depersonalize your home. It's not about you anymore. You want to, this is a business transaction that you're trying to be as palatable to as many people as possible. If your goal is to sell your home, then remember that goal. And that goal is to be as marketable and as palatable to as many people as possible. No matter how much you love red, and I love red as much as you, believe me, I do. But not everybody does. So I am sorry about that. I mean, that
Me too.
yes.
What does one pay for services such as you might provide, or what you might provide, and what basis do you work on? A project or hour or combination?
Combination, I usually always work on an hourly basis, and I would love to talk to you about that afterward if you want to give me a call. And Karen?
Same deal. I mean, it's very hard when you're going to work with somebody in their home and you really don't know how much stuff is behind the door to be able to estimate projects. So it really is a matter of working on, a time frame and figuring out what we can do together and blocking it out. So.
There are some survey forms on the table back there. I don't know, Veronica, do you see the survey forms back there on the table? I'd love to have those passed out to people.
Put them back here for everyone to take one of them.
Oh, I thought they were going to have to pass it out so we can have them do it before they leave. But yeah, I would love to have that.
You said Gray was kind of going out. What's coming in? Because I'm sure Gray is going.
Yeah, so Benjamin Moore always puts out a color of the year. This year it was Caliente Red. The best red ever. Caliente Red, which is my bathroom. I have a red Caliente Red in my bathroom. And last year it was this beautiful deep purple, shadow purple. And before that it was these light, it was white, simply white. The year before that it was crazy, these light gray colors. So people are backlash. I'm tired of gray.
Yeah, but what's
So it's the warmer grays. So it's a little bit warmer grays, a little bit warmer grays, still neutral, but a little bit just warmer neutrals. It's not gone back to the green colors. For a while, the neutrals were like green colors, and it's not that yet. We're still, still people are doing gray colors. I'm doing a lot of edgecomb gray, which is kind of a warmish color. I think it's HC19, and a Benjamin Moore color, which is a very, it's kind of a tan color, but it's a very light kind of grayed down tan. So I'm doing that in a lot of places that need to have a neutral color. Yeah, hi.
Hi, how do you decide if you have too many books?
Too many books, it depends on what your question is. Too many books for selling your house? Or too many books for you to enjoy? Or too many books for your bookshelf?
Too many books for you to move into your new smaller place.
Then you have to say, okay, my new smaller place only has room for this much bookshelf, and I only have this much space for bookshelf, and so that's how many books I can hold on this much bookshelf space. That's how many books you have. And that will determine your space. So it's kind of like you look at the functionality, okay, I only have this much bookshelf space. How many books are going to fit in that much square feet of bookshelf space?
I think you need to go back to if you love it and you need it and you don't have too many of it, then you can keep it.
Too many is
I know,
objective.
so, we're the only ones who can answer that.
Yeah.
And so it has to be, do you want, are these books that were given to you by precious people, or have first editions, or signatures, or, your favorites, or you're going to read them again, right? But if they're, if you bought them at some point because they looked nice on your shelf, maybe it's time to, let it go.
Yeah. There's always places you can kind of, like I saw there, I showed examples there, underneath windowsills, or, up above doorways, places you can find for bookshelves. But do you really want to do that? Yeah.
If I move, I've got things that, when my husband was alive, he put up that I just don't think I can do now, like shelving, because you show shelving.
Right.
Or put up a heavy mirror.
Right.
Where do you find people that can help you with things like that?
There are several different resources, and Karen's going to know more, but the first one is Angie's List. Anybody can go online and look on Angie's List, number one. And you don't have to be a member anymore, I think, to access that.
I think it's open now.
I think it's open now for anybody to access. That's how they're advertising it now, yes.
So you just look for handymen. Handymen are the right type of people for that kind of thing.
Yes, and there's also, a lot of people have these next door places, if you belong to a community that has next door, or ask friends. There's a lot of places that have handymen available, but Angie's List really is a great resource for handymen, because people go on there and recommend someone that did something for them that they like.
Yeah, and if I can talk to you afterwards. We have some that we use all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You have a question? Oh, I thought you were raising your hand, sorry. Any other questions? Great. Well, thank you so much for coming.